Graphics
let me
flipped
get the
over. Sorry, guys.
thing
We're
pulled.
flipping some stuff up here on the last one. It's Instagram going.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I should stop saying bad things.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, only some of them. Instagram's a bit wonky because it's Instagram.
Someone this week had a good suggestion is that we should introduce who we are. We never do that. And I'm like,
Huh.
that's probably a good idea. I don't know. I guess I just assume everyone knows who we are if they're tuning in, but that's not true.
I guess not. Yeah. We're
And I think
we're the talking heads of 034A. Like that.
We're hitting a bigger audience too now.
Yep.
So
Masses. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're up on everything.
hey, and we're wearing the same shirt. This is uncoordinated. Well, welcome to the 034 Motorsport
Unplanned.
Live, unplanned. I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport. This is
Nate
Stuart, Director of Engineering and printer fixer.
That 3D print. Oh well, I guess all printers. Yeah, 2 and 3D.
Yeah. I guess
It's been a while though. Thankfully, Andrew's taken over.
I guess inkjet printers are two-dimensional.
Yep.
I mean, theoretically, they're not, but practically speaking. Yeah, and we're here to answer all your questions about all things automotive, all things 034 Motorsport, all things controversial.
Yep.
All things
automotive industry, whatever.
Anything that you feel like you've ever been bullshitted about, please bring it up and tell us so we can unbullshit it for you. We're sorry for missing last week. Nate was on vacation, and I had a lot of stuff going on, so I wasn't in the office very much last week.
Yep.
But we're back.
Had family out.
And we have something exciting this week. We have our entire tuning and calibration team.
Yeah, we gathered
in-house.
all the engineers for the week. So
there, we have two engineers that work remotely normally, and one at a facility that we've set up in Alabama, and that's dedicated to 034 Motorsport tuning and calibration.
Yep.
So, but we got everyone in house this week. Normally, the engineering team works very closely via digital communication techniques.
We meet every day, go over troubles, problems, planning. Every morning.
But we're going to bring them on and let them introduce themselves. And I don't know, Steve's pretty tall.
I may have to adjust the camera angle on this one.
We'll bring them in one at a time. So.
Yeah, let me bring it up here.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
I'm not actually 2 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh no, you fit. You're good.
All right.
I planned accordingly. You're almost getting tall.
All right. So this is Steve Bloom.
Hi everybody.
Steve is a good calibrator, but is mostly working on our software infrastructure type products and reverse engineering type projects.
And you probably, a lot of tech support. Assist and a lot of the log reviews and that kind of thing have been sitting on Steve's desk.
Steve's been awesome with that. Gives good customer service.
Thanks,
email.
Thanks for that.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your experience.
Sure.
You got a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing. I'm a software engineer, so I've been in software development in one way or another for 15 years. I was working for a K-12 school. K-12 company making software for K-12 schools.
It's like managed schools.
Yep, school management software. And in the middle of all of that, I decided to pick up. I got interested in cars.
You had a Ace.
I had a 1.8T Jetta that I had to get tuned to the max. And
were you one of those people that always asks like if it fits the Jetta too?
Oh, it's never that guy. I would find out if it fit the Jetta.
Okay, good. Because whenever we release a new product, all people ask is if it fits the Jetta.
Fits the Jetta. Yeah. Generally, no.
So, no, I got started by, starting to tune those. Just understand, I bought tunes from other tuners for my car. Felt like, I could do it a little bit better or figure out how it worked in the first place. So got into data logging cars, and then from there, I just I built my own data logger. I continued to tune and basically do it on the side while I was doing my 9 to 5. and then I would do that at night, and I'm sure the wife and family were totally happy about how much time I spent doing that kind of stuff. So,
Good thing you did.
I mean, it led me to this. That's true, and I love every second of it. I also love that I'm doing it now on a professional level, and I don't have to do it off hours anymore. Now I can sit and relax and be with my family, and it's just a great all around opportunity. And everybody at 034 has been awesome to work with, and I'm just happy to be here. And so I'm actually remote,
Yes,
right?
you are.
I'm from Wisconsin, so what's
You
that?
didn't even bring cheese this time.
No cheese,
Send
Curtis.
you back to go.
Yep.
Eric brought
Usually-
that smoked pig though, right?
Yeah, it's still buried.
This trip out, I came out with my family and we did some San Francisco sightseeing. So I actually just got back into Fremont this morning. So I'm just happy to be back in the office and get to butt heads with Nate a little bit more while I'm in here. And
I know what you got.
I currently drive a B8 S4.
Perfect.
Yep, with a correct transmission in it. It may be
got the
slower
manual,
from
yes.
on a quarter mile, but it's still 6-speed. So I'm holding on to that. I also have a Tiguan. I just sold a C5 all road, which I'll miss,
That's what I was
kind
thinking.
of,
You had
but
it
not
all,
really.
yeah.
And then my 1.8T Jetta that I sold for my B8. So that's pretty much been my
What about your
Audis.
Atlas?
I've got an Atlas.
There you go.
That's
There you go.
the wife's Atlas.
You guys are Atlas buddies. Okay.
No, I got a Toric.
Close.
Yeah. What else
Good.
do you want to know
Thank
about?
you, Steve. No, it's been incredible to have Steve on staff, a professional software developer.
Yep.
We've strived to hire professional industry staff in every position whenever we can, and a lot of times in this industry, everyone kind of comes from being an enthusiast, and then they figure out the professional thing that they're supposed to do. Which is kind of how Nate and I started, ironically.
It
But
shows sometimes.
So I'm teaching them some professional level things.
that's right. But Steve,
Teaching them how to be professional.
it's true. I mean, Steve, you were managing what, like 15, 20 developers at one point?
In one fashion or another, probably never that much. I was stuck somewhere in middle management, and that was the reason why I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but Steve knows the right way to develop software using the right processes with the right documentation and building the software structure in a way that's scalable and reliable and robust for the future. So it's been a pleasure to have you. And he's an enthusiast, and he drives a B8, which he's spent a lot of time supporting B8 customers. Who are
I really got more heavily into tuning in my own side business with my B8. It really took off once I got into the B8. So I learned how to tune the B8 myself, then came on board with 034, realized that what Nate had done is a lot better than what I did.
now you're just trying to butter up.
No,
but we're not surprised. Nate is an incredible tuner. So. And thank you for making Nate seem kind of short.
Yeah, right. Well, someone is asking if you're actually two people in that trip.
Normally Nate's like the tallest guy around. All right. Well, thank you, Steve. We appreciate it, and we love having you here.
Yep.
If anyone wants to ask, any follow-up questions, we can keep it going.
That's Steve question.
All right. Thank you. All right. Nick. All right. Nick Sgambelluri. Come on in, Nick.
Sure.
This is Nick Sgambelluri.
Morning, all.
And Nick, you joined us in December?
Yeah.
I think it was like late November, right?
Yeah.
I started November 2nd.
It seems like it's been
not late November.
It's been forever.
This whole pandemic thing is throwing my calendars all the whack.
But yes, Nick is a calibrator.
Yep.
And Nick has a rich background of tuning and calibration, and not necessarily with OEM ECUs. And so when we brought you on, you knew how to tune and calibrate. You just had to learn the ins and outs of interacting in the Bosch or CMOS environment, and you've been doing that. And so Nick is actually almost solely responsible for our B8 A4 2.0T stage 1 calibration that we released recently. That's been selling very well, and ran a very fast time, and also we're running full E85.
Yeah.
Who knew? Everyone thought that you couldn't
And
do
we
it.
were
So.
out hooning it on track this past weekend.
Yeah.
So, or last Friday.
I'm a big fan of the 85.
Yeah.
Yes.
See if we can run it.
The 85 for the masses.
We're going to run it and everything.
Yep.
So Nick sorted that out for us, and it's wonderful. You know, it used to be just Nate and I, and mostly Nate doing calibrations, and now Nate can train someone like Nick, and then he can go off and do it. So it's incredible. So tell us about your background and how you kind of came into
Sure.
the industry.
Yeah. So my professional background is IT. I spent 12 years in professional IT atmosphere.
So printers.
Printers, yeah, just dot matrix printers.
I think it's most of the tuning industry is like, hey, I know a little bit about computers. Let me mess with this one in the
Yeah,
car.
exactly. And then I always had hobbies. I like to tinker with things. And just like anything else, cars were an easy platform to tinker with.
Yeah.
And Audis, I started with a B5 S4, 2006 or 7, long time ago, and just had a bunch.
That was your first Audi? Okay.
That was my first Audi.
Okay.
Yep. My parents actually got the bug for me. They got a B8.5 A4 brand new, 1999, 2.8.
Drive by cable.
Yeah, drive by cable, 2.8.
The
And
2.8.
and that's what started. Yeah, exactly.
99, yeah, that would have been a 30 valve, so yeah.
30 valve. Yep.
2.8.
Santorin blue.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got a B5 S4, and then, but prior to that, I was tuning I had Ford Probes, and I put standalone in them, and I was
nice.
tuning. It was always a hobby, and I was always tinkering with stuff.
Was that like actually a Mazda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why it was so cool.
Mazda MX6 and 626. They all
Seemed
shared
like
the same-
too refined of a sports sedan
To be a
to be a
Ford.
Ford at the time, especially.
Yeah, they're pretty neat cars.
Yeah,
I
that's
keep my eye out for another one.
They're
Just-
gone.
Just to add more.
I
like not in the
haven't
roads.
seen one in
Right.
They're just
20 years.
yeah. They've all been parted out or whatever.
Yeah, they rusted, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. But yeah, and then
You got a 200 at some point because ever since I've known you or of you, you've been pushing the 200.
yeah, so that's kind of what really. I became a customer of 034 with the B5, kind of engine mounts, just little trinkets like that at the time. But when I got the 200, I dug into Motor Geek, and
That's right.
I jumped right in with the 200 and did a big brake kit that no one had ever. I used B5 S4 brakes on the 200, and it changed
Yeah.
because UFOs are terrible and
They are.
impossible to replace. So I had a B5 S4 that was my daily, or that was my summer car, and I bought the 200 to be my winter car. Quickly that changed, and it's my baby now. But I had parts laying around from the B5, and I'm like, I'm going to make them work. On the
And
200.
those calipers are plentiful because everyone would take them off the B5s.
They throw them out, exactly. So made them work on the 200, and
It's a nice caliper for that era.
Sure.
For the 80s,
Yeah.
90s era Audi, it's a
Well, especially compared
really
to
big
the
caliper.
esoteric UFO that
Yeah.
had no support of any
Right.
kind.
Right.
And if we might have to explain what a UFO rotor is, but
I wish we
Look,
had.
looks like
Audi,
a
Audi took a tangent on brake theory, and
It's a really good idea, actually.
yeah, they wanted to increase the pad area, or the lever arm on a brake rotor, but they didn't have room to put a caliper further up because it was like 15-inch
Yeah.
wheels,
Instead of
16-inch
putting bigger
at the
wheels
time.
on, which they should.
So they took the hat of the caliper, wrapped it all the way, or hat of the rotor, wrapped it all the way around to the outside of the rotor, and then the caliper and pad lived on the inside.
So the rotor ring is mounted from the outside of the rotor instead of the inside of the rotor, like normal.
Yeah.
So they were able to put a much bigger rotor, but the problem is it was like basically a stamped or formed steel housing that supported the outside of the rotor, and it just would warp.
It warped like mad. Yeah.
It's just, it might have been okay if you were just piddling around town, but if you got
When I bought the
they actually recalled them and took them all off.
yeah, they
Yeah,
put
they went back to the
G60s on a lot of 91s.
Yeah.
My car had the UFOs on them. They were shot.
Yeah.
I drove it from Burlington, Vermont, back to
There used to be somebody who figured out how to
surface.
surface them and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Try to straighten them. So, anyways, you got into that, and you did like a burnout in some video, and it got super famous, right? That was
launch,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you did a really cool launch.
So I guess just prior to that, I did maintenance on the 200, and then one winter I broke the transmission, snapped the input shaft clean, and I took it apart.
016.
And the 016, yeah. So I got a replacement 016, and I put a 034 supplied K26 GT 3076.
Right.
And that made the car famous. I tuned it on E85, obviously.
Yeah.
Standalone, and just kind of minor bolt-ons. And I eventually would post a video that went viral, essentially, whatever you want to consider viral.
It got really famous.
It's getting close to 3 million views at this point.
gosh.
Of course, it's 8 years.
That's insane, though. No,
It's
that's a
still
lot.
huge, yeah.
For Audi stuff, that's a lot.
Yeah. And
I mean, if it was a puppy or something, that would be understandable.
Sure, yeah. And the clip's been stolen, numerous times for montage.
I've seen it in all these other videos, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and at the time, it was maybe 350 horsepower, but enough to, destroy
Still a
4
lot,
tires on
yeah.
the road. And it made a pretty epic video, yeah.
So how did you come out of IT into tuning and calibration?
Well, it was actually my wife to thank. She got a promotion at her job, which moved us,
Yeah.
and it gave me an opportunity. Now, I'd done IT for 12 years. I was happy doing, working 9 to 5, had a solid income, but it was a good opportunity for me to explore my hobbies and,
Sure.
and move
Outside.
into a different, a different career path. And I took
outside of like just restarting computers to fix them all day.
exactly.
But pretty much like 90% of the
Where
you
is
have to
the
restart
any key?
Yeah.
Just got to tell everyone where the any key is.
It solves so many questions.
So yeah, my wife got relocated with work to the Southwest, and we could have chose a couple different states. Long story short, a longtime friend of mine, Hank Iros, hired me to work at Iros Motorsport, and he made a position that didn't exist and hired me on, and I moved from IT to the motorsport world.
And you started tuning some of the most powerful, RS3s around.
That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so your specialty, which you really learned about tuning and calibration, was through tuning these standalones. The whatchamacallit. What's the
Cyvex,
the Cyvex, right?
But I've tuned,
You've tuned VEMs
Many,
and lots of different standalones.
exactly. Yeah, I have Mega Square on my Grom.
Big Grom fan.
So, lots of standalone action, and in between, I did some. I guess I tuned a big turbo. I owned a 1.8T B8.5 A4.
Some of the earlier Motronic stuff
Yep.
you were doing.
ME7, I've got a pretty decent
ME7,
grasp on, and I've got a supercharged 2.8,
Right.
the Avant, which Nick's a big fan of. Nick's a real big fan of the 2-point
The
grade.
PES.
It's got a
supercharger.
PES supercharger, and I did my own custom E85 tuning.
Yeah.
And it put down 300 wheel on 034's dyno,
Nice.
which is
That's great. That's fast.
297 for the people that are they don't like the
Yeah, you
rounding up.
round it up.
That's right, 297. So yeah,
Cool. And then we talked last year, and you decided to make the move, and we're really blessed and happy that you're here. And,
Yep.
and you're a great fit, not only technically but just culturally too. It's been great to have you here and everything.
feelings
so.
mutual. Yeah,
Cool.
it's a great place to be.
Well, thank you very much, Nick.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Yeah, if anyone has any follow-ups for Nick, go ahead and put them in. And all right, and let's get Eric. This is Eric Urness. Welcome.
Our most,
Yes, sir.
most recent edition.
Yeah, well, Eric started in December too.
Yep.
We
Shortly after Nick.
made a pretty concerted hiring effort second part of last year, and brought on some new staff, and we hope to be doing that again this year to continue to expand the team, because the results we've been getting have been so phenomenal.
Yep.
But Eric, you could probably talk for several hours about all your experience in the industry. Eric's been around for a while, but why don't you give us a quick synopsis?
Oh man.
And go back. You have some pretty cool previous training in college.
Yeah, I'll
education
go
as
back
well.
and do some college stuff. So I was originally becoming an orthodontist, and so I was going to take in chemistry and biology and stuff. And I just kept getting sucked into the physics lab, and my physics professor kept telling me, Eric, you got to go to physics. You got to go to physics. Like, you love it. It's so much fun. And And so I finally was spending so much time like tinkering on cars, making parts. I was making intake manifolds back in the day for first gen Dodge Deons. If any of you guys know about that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
But high end stuff. But I was broke. My parents had a Dodge dealership, so it was the cheapest car I could get that I could modify. And so I started working on that, and I had a standalone SDS EFI on that.
Oh, SDS, yeah. That was a big competitor before you.
Yep.
And then had through college, just had a bunch of buddies that had cars, Subarus, and whatnot. So I started tuning stock ECU stuff then, and a couple standalone Hydro Nemesis, which was a California-based tuning
Hydro
company.
was big, yeah.
And then forayed into Mega Squirts and DTA Fast and Motex and Haltex and everything I get my hands on. And of course, it was just snowballed the amount of work that you had to do. And
Right.
so got through school, and I converted and got a degree in applied physics and then mathematics as well. And then I wanted to go into race engineering and do race car stuff. And most people with physics degrees end up doing lab work. So some electron microscope stuff isn't necessarily doesn't get me out of bed in the morning, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I've kind of made a mistake. I really want to work on race cars and do this stuff. So I looked around and found a guy who had gone to Western Washington's Vehicle Research Institute and went there and did their Formula CE program. So we competed in 2008 in West. We did really well. Forgot what we placed, I think 8th. But I built a carbon fiber monocoque Formula CE car, 4-pot, did a DTA fast management system in it with traction control, and learned a lot more about powertrain, engines, composites, CNC machining, manufacturing. That really helped out. And then after that, I got a job working for PACCAR, which was Peterbilt Kenworth trucks. So I did OE calibration for that and their engine dynos. So I did engine development with them for, I'd be 4 years. And slowly transitioned out of doing just engine dyno development work. They had a really, really nice AC dyno setup. And then got into more software development, which was writing the code that the ECU operates. So I got charge of a couple different modules, and I was late. I'm habitually late, for those who don't know. I showed up late. I showed up late to a meeting.
We've picked up on that.
I showed up late to a meeting, and the meeting was to determine what modules everybody was going to get from the new ECU. And everyone else didn't like tuning PIDs. And so I got stuck with like 7 or 8 modules that were all PID stuff, which ended up being a strong suit because now I'm great at it. But
and that's a really important element of controlling any system.
Everything closed loop is all PID based. So I got stuck with that, and that was great learning curve, and got to learn a lot about how we, how that's forward engineered from the compiling and how we do development work and C code. And how the calibration process goes and releasing products for OE.
So being late can have advantages.
Yeah. It can turn out in your favor with more work that's better for you. So it stretches your stuff. So, left there, I worked at a CNC shop that was in aerospace. I had a Formula SA buddy who got me a job there as a project manager because I thought I wanted to try something different. And aerospace was awesome. We got to work on some sweet projects, defense projects, military projects. I won't really name what they are, but they're super cool. But still, despite being super cool, it wasn't my interest. I was still trying to go to the racetrack. I had an Evo at the time, which I've wasted numerous hours and countless amount of money. Don't tell my wife.
Never add up the receipts.
So I just kept after doing the car stuff and kept doing fabrication and kept tuning cars. I eventually got hired back at PACCAR because all those PID modules I wrote the software for, they were going to release their product, and they were like, we don't have anybody who can do this stuff. You know it really well. Can you just come back? So I came back for a contract stint, and that worked really well. And while I was there, one of the guys pointed me and said, I got some people that want to do some OE calibration, so performance stuff. So it was right down my alley, kind of led to that. And so I've done, OE ECU calibration for like the past 9 years. And I've got a pretty wide swath of experience between all the Bosch ECUs, all the Continental ECUs. So I've done burned that bridge pretty well. So I've got a lot of experience in the OE ECU too, especially Bosch stuff. I like that. The Bosch Continental strategies are pretty similar as far as they were, and it makes sense. Like I was talking to Nate about this, it makes a lot of sense when you think about it long term. The customer Audi or Volkswagen is going to give a requirement to Bosch or Siemens and say, hey, this is what we need our ECU to do. And if you give 2 people the same problem, they're going to come up with similar solutions.
It's really close on some of them.
Their naming nomenclature is different, and how they structure things is different. But in the general gist, there's only so many different ways to skin that cat.
So Eric was pretty much solely responsible for our recent B9 3.0T calibration, and he's working on our 2.9 RS5 calibration as well. And Eric has a shop in Alabama that we've helped him set up, and so it's sort of like a second tuning facility that you run and work at, and you also live there.
Yeah. Pretty awesome setup.
Right. Just roll out of bed into the dyno.
Yeah, but there's just not, a lot of guys like Eric just, hanging out in Home Depot parking lots. So, we had to get a little creative, but it's been an incredible partnership
really
so
well,
far, and you've done some great work, and I know there's lots of people watching this who are really enjoying the fruits of that labor right now.
Yep. Lots more coming.
And it's not anywhere near done.
Yeah.
We have a lot more plans.
And I'll say this to customers too. It's great to hear the feedback from you guys, because we do hear it as the calibrators. We hear it quite a bit in all the emails that get sent in. So Nick does a great job of relaying that information, so we know changes you want, things you don't like, things you do like. I'd say that's a huge benefit for us.
We know about the crackles.
Yeah, you know about the crackles. Sorry,
We'll have more crackles. Don't worry.
There's been some sleepless nights for that one.
And I mean, Eric and Nick and Steve and Nate and obviously all of us, we care about people being happy, and we want people to be happy, right? So that's a big rewarding element for you, is to get that positive feedback. And I've seen you respond really enthusiastically to when people are happy, and I've also seen you respond energetically when there's been issues.
Yeah. Well, my perspective of that is, right, I love modifying cars, engines, boats. We'll get there, but
Oh no,
I like modifying everything. If I can modify my lawnmower and turbo,
Chris Green,
I'd love it. I'd love it. Yeah, Chris Green, good job, buddy. But no, I would say that I love modifying cars, and I think it's a great experience, and we have this opportunity to share what we love with other people, and I want them to have a great experience, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun,
and have their and it's supposed to be a fun experience that's without problem, and they just because they're really timid, they want to modify their $50,000 car, and they go out and they do that. I want to have them a great experience, so they come back and they realize that hey, there's a whole world of this. We can go further, we can go deeper, we can modify more cars. And then they can have a great experience they can share with their family, right? Yeah. When your mother-in-law can drive your car, your wife can drive your car, and maybe they don't know, maybe they do know, whatever. You spray paint the part black, take off the logos. Yep.
Keep the logo.
Ship it to your friend, and then have it bring it over to your house. Whatever you come up with, special PayPal account that you need to figure it out. But I want people that enjoy cars the way that I enjoy cars, and I feel like that's my responsibility to make sure I provide that to you guys.
You want people to be safe.
Yeah,
I mean, it's okay.
Be safe and be happy, and
everything we do is for safety.
Right.
Yep. Because you have to be able to look your mother-in-law in the eye and say, I'm gonna tune my other car, and she's got to be like,
she asks like you say it's for safety. Accelerate away from the danger. That's what
there are some on ramps that I've experienced that you could use more horsepower on.
Yes,
definitely,
especially around here.
Yeah, the short flow reliefs. Yep, same one.
Well, it's been an honor and a thrill to work with you, Eric. I've known you and of you for a long time, and for me professionally, it's a dream come true to be able to assemble a team and work with a team of calibrators and engineers of this caliber and quality. So no, it's professionally for Nate and I. I mean, Nate and I literally started with nothing.
It's been phenomenal to see the
life
amount,
changing.
The amount of things that Nate has to cover and the breadth of what he knows is very, very impressive. I mean,
that's the thing is we try not to take shortcuts, and those are very long paths if you're not taking a shortcut. So
but you've unloaded workload onto 3 other unique individuals who are specialized in each one of those things, and you can swing a bat in all those arenas. So it's very, very impressive coming in here and seeing that.
Yeah,
you did a great job setting it up.
Yeah, but for us, our dream is manifest in having staff and guys like you to work with, to partner with. So we're just extremely lucky to be able to release these type of products and get this kind of feedback. So thanks to all the engineers who joined us this morning. And thank you for sharing. Again, if you guys have any follow-up, we plan on spending the first 30 minutes doing this, and we're 29 minutes in. So good job, everybody.
We got some questions.
I'm sure. So let's write them down.
Thanks, guys.
And then we can, we can tackle them as we maybe next week we can do more. Absolutely. Lots of questions coming in. Let me just try to hit some of these right off the bat. VEG ETA and new ZTF wheel designs. So I'll talk about this just because. So we have a flow formed ZTF wheel. It's basically ZTF 01 that's re-engineered for the flow form manufacturing process and the strength of the, forged. You can do certain types of designs and you can have a minimal amount of material because the forging is so strong. With a low pressure cast like flow form, it's not as strong. So we had to add some material and beef it up to keep the strength there. We're looking at releasing those Q1 of next year. These will be extremely price competitive, very high quality. They'll have similar fitments. We are planning on having multiple colors in stock. But we're talking about, sub $1,500 for a set of 18s or 19s. They're not going to be as light. They're not going to be as strong, but we will not accept a flow form wheel that bends. And
No.
we've sold and dealt with some flow form wheels in the past, and they were constantly bending and having issues. And to date, in house, and I've never heard of a customer either. We haven't had one bent wheel of any kind.
And we beat the crap
with
out
our
of
forged ZTF wheels. Now, granted, they're like $2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not cheap, but I mean, we don't treat them
No, you
any
can.
differently.
You can.
We smash on them on track. We've pigged off multiple curves.
I'd say short of like
Big,
getting in
heavy,
an
fast
accident or something.
Right.
That's
Or
an extremely strong.
driving straight into some
Yeah.
curb somewhere.
All right, so that's the VEG ETA Q1 2022. Now, as far as different designs, we haven't talked about that too much. We're happy with the ZTF 01 design. We've had good feedback across the board. And so I think, we will eventually release ZTF 02, but we haven't, no ETA on that. Are you planning on getting CARB approval for Mk6 GTi Stage 1 tune?
Yes, we have it. So we'll be releasing more information on the CARB approvals
Good.
coming up, but we have received approval for Mk5, Mk6,
Yeah.
B7, B8, 2-liter tunes. So yes,
Great.
We
So,
have a lot of that coming up.
At this point, you could buy with relative confidence, knowing that we will be finalizing all those details.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot more information on how it's going to be a little different process. You'll have one choice when you go to flash the CARB approved files. And,
Yeah.
We'll have some documentation around that, but it is yes, we do have approval for those.
Someone is asking, do you guys plan on making any exhausts? Current offerings are either too loud, too quiet, or too expensive. Thinking you guys would kill it with sound and price.
That's kind of what we already do.
We are releasing just what you said for the R8 Gen 1, V8,
yes.
and V10, Gen 1 and Gen 1.5. Those will be out in the next few months. They're valved. They sound amazing. They have great performance. Generally, we've decided to stay out of exhausts because it's a very competitive space. Exhausts are very big, and they're we haven't had a lot of space in the past. We have more space now with our warehouse in Anaheim, but currently we're doing so well with our current product lines. We don't see jumping exhausts, and we already do ResX.
Yeah, the ResX is kind of what I was thinking on that.
Yeah, which I would
It kind of
strongly
fits a lot of
recommend
that.
looking at ResX because it's kind of it's the sound of a $2,000 or $3,000 exhaust, and it costs anywhere from $200 to $500. So I would suggest looking into any ResX offerings we have. They're very popular. Broadly knocked off by other companies, which generally tells us we've done a good job, and extremely good reviews on our website and satisfaction from customers.
From this one, we've had a few of these today for this question that I've highlighted here at the top.
Yeah, we're actually looking into that. Some guys have been mentioning that. So this happened in the UK. Tuned my B9 with dynamic on stage 1. Engine fans went on full, but after a very mild drive. I don't know that his. So he also says turning off cruise control solved his fan issue, but they're completely not correlated. We don't do anything on the B9 that is
Not yet.
not yet.
Yeah.
That's interfacing the cruise control stock on those files. The fan control is more aggressive than stock. When I say aggressive, meaning it is more it's targeting a lower engine temp generally, with particularly with spirited driving. So that may be what's triggering it. I have had I think one other customer is saying that his fans are on a lot. We're looking into that to see if there's something we just want to tweak.
Possible.
Up a little
The
bit.
thing is, the thermostats are known failures on these cars. So if
And it might be compensated, right? There might be a thermostat that's compromised and running just a little warmer than normal, and the fans are just trying to catch it because we are actively trying to maintain a little lower ceiling on those temperatures to keep the motor happy.
Say he dropped about 20 degrees Celsius in June.
Yeah.
For the fan controls,
So it
yeah,
turns on
the fans are certainly more active than they are
Yeah.
on a stock file. So that's also a good point.
Which is good.
Yes, all done for a reason.
You want? I got to deal with something real quick. You want to tackle the next code?
Yeah, no, I got it. There's plenty here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Question.
Let's see. Any word on B9? Any word on B9 3.0 T Stage 1 calibration updates? That is all stuff we are working on. We're going to be updating it for years. That's generally how we work. But we've got we've got
Send a quick tap.
some feedback we're working on. So people wanted crackles, people wanted some other stuff. This person's asking if there's any issues to report so far. I don't think we've had any issues. It's just been some little drivability stuff. We've been some ironing out.
The drivability stuff is not good. It's not acceptable. I wouldn't say it was an issue as far as like it didn't prevent anyone.
Yeah, it's not what we where we.
It didn't prevent anyone from driving or getting anywhere or having the full performance of their car. But it's something that needs to be corrected.
It's a tweak,
and
and
it is.
we're fixing that.
That will be corrected. But no issues. Certainly, we have hundreds and hundreds of cars now on the road. We're getting incredible feedback from customers. Our customer Arnon dynoed his car
Yeah, that was pretty good.
star and got almost exactly the same numbers.
Within 1 horsepower,
one torque, I think.
Yep.
And he's running. Is he in what's his quarter mile?
He's in Florida. Who's he running?
And 7 right off the street.
Yeah,
It's on stage 1.
complete.
Just
Yeah,
no prep or anything.
no prep. Full, obviously full interior.
Yeah. So and then, but we're getting that kind of feedback from many customers and a lot of enthusiasm. So no issues. Just we're always going to make small refinements and improvements as they manifest and come up.
Yep. So saying a tune is done is really hard, or calibration is done.
It's never done. Right?
We're always, we don't like, any compromises. And then inevitably, the more you're in there, the more you're doing for more files down the road, you end up picking up little, tips, tricks, or, changes that might, help apply, back to stage 1. Maybe you're working on some stage 3 file. And, if we can, we'll circle back and, update those stage 1 files with our new findings and strategies. So, no, it's tough to say it's done.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Here's what we'll start from the top. Kind of filter.
What are the main focuses for the next tuner revision for B9 3.0 T?
Just like we spoke, the next revision is going to be some crackle adjustments. Really light load, like 8th gear, super
That
light
load
load.
surge off,
There's a bit of an oscillation. We're getting rid of that. That's honestly the gist of it. The fan thing that he mentioned, we're going to look into that to see if it is a hardware or software. Obviously, it's a very minimal impact. So we need to isolate that just so we know what it is. But I mean, overall, the file's been really solid.
Yeah, I mean,
It's some very small tweaks on this stuff coming up.
Yeah, eventually, our next feature release will be more than just some of these corrections.
Yes, yeah. That's not to say that's when the tune's going to end. That's just for this updated, just some of the
Which is hopefully the next
adjustments in the next weeks.
next week or something.
And then
The 2021 compatibility.
2021, we're working
still
on heavily
working on-
this week.
Yeah.
Yep, cars.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a car here.
We'll have
in
a
our
car
hands
here to test out.
momentarily.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the works, and then all the advanced features will be coming as well.
Yeah. B8.5 A4 A5 tuning release ETA.
I gotta look and see what we calendar that.
I don't know
is.
if we have an ETA for
Yeah, I don't
that.
know if we set that yet. We're working on that pretty soon.
So currently, Nick, who you guys just met,
Yep.
is working on refining some of our Mark 7 MQB tunes, as well as IS38 for
GTI.
GTI, and some of the EQT turbo upgrade options that we've discussed in the past. So once that he's finished with that, he will likely move to the B8.5 and also stage 2 B8. So hopefully by the end of the year that will be out.
Yep.
I'm particularly excited for that because those are flex fuel cars.
Yes.
Which that's a really nice feature to have flex fuel built in.
Yep.
What are your plans for Mk8 GTI and R? Yeah, our entire Dynamic Plus Type 034 Motorsport catalog we will be doing for that. We already have the turbo muffler delete finished, and that's in production. And we have a whole host of products now. A lot of the Mark 7 stuff will fit Mark 8.
Yep.
So we've verified and validated those fitments. So that those products will be immediately available. And then there are additional new products like the downpipe's different. It's a different turbo. Our air boxes, some of them fit, some of them need small changes. I think the front air duct,
The intake duct. Yeah.
yeah, is a little different, but the intake is kind of the same. So there's some small changes, and then we'll be tackling tuning and calibration next year. But we have to evaluate that. I mean, we don't know a lot.
Oh, as far as what it's going to
those
take to
ECUs are,
release,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Yeah. I'm not too concerned about it. It's a similar evolution from the Mark 7s.
Upgraded turbos and things like that.
Eventually, yeah, certainly. But I mean, no one's even talking about that stuff right now. It's that car's not even here in the States.
Right.
We're lucky we can partner with Racing Line in the UK, and they've had a car for several months, and so we've been able to engineer and test products on their in-house cars, which has been nice for us, without having to figure out how to ship a car into the US and all that stuff. Well, B9 Stage 2, delete the check engine light from a catless downpipe. 3.0T. Any of our Stage 2 files in general would and they're for racing use only.
Right. And
they would accommodate either a high flow cat or no cat.
Right. Right. And it'll be marked as uninstalled on the OBD stuff, so it's not. Yeah, we're not hiding that it's not there, but we're telling you it's not there, and we're very aware that you don't want to see a check engine light for something you have purposefully installed on the car.
I mean, clearly, if you remove the cat from the car, your engine is 100% pollution. Device.
Right. Yeah.
It's just kicking out all the bad stuff.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, obviously this isn't a compliant.
So it's certainly not compliant.
Obviously race use only at that.
Yeah. But who wants to be on a racetrack with a check engine light blinking?
Yeah, without knowing if it's real or if it's some other component.
Right. Are you guys working with any of the new E85 kits being developed for the 3.0T B8 era supercharged? Yes, JXB and Precision Raceworks. We will release more information about those as we have.
Yeah, we're waiting on, we need hardware in hand before we can start doing much more with it. So we can build up. We've got controllers and whatnot that are going to be integrated directly with the stock ECU. So it's going to be a little more of a process than some of the other options out there, but we think it's the right way to do it.
I think Precision Raceworks kit is nearly on the way.
That's what I heard. Precision's close to shipping something.
This is a weird question. I noticed with the P34 intake, I'm not sure which one, when I let off the gas after building boost, I can hear the box compress.
I don't think. What you're hearing is
you're not hearing you can't hear the box. I mean,
the
box, hear that.
The box isn't going to compress, and especially when you let off, what you're very likely hearing is the bypass valve.
Yeah, it's probably like a rush of air, like a hissing sound.
That's basically there's a valve on the side of the turbo that essentially recirculates the air around the compressor on the turbo so that the compressor doesn't stall, and you get a lot of that noise essentially back up the intake pipe because it's only a foot and a half of big open tube and a big open filter beyond that. So that's almost certainly what you're hearing.
Yeah, it's kind of like on a bike when you're pedaling and you stop pedaling and it goes zzz, on the old school, like the fixie bikes, it just keeps going, right? And so the bypass valve basically allows the turbo to freewheel, just like the bike, the mechanism, ratcheting mechanism, and the bike pedal bearing assembly allows. But yeah, that's what you're hearing. The airbox does not compress or change shape in any way.
No, what you're hearing is basically how much the OEM muffles all that and hides all that.
And that's literally one of the features that you're getting is you're getting to hear your engine.
Things happening, yeah.
And that's kind of we're hoping to connect you, an automotive enthusiast, a little bit more to what your engine is doing. And so you're hearing that the bypass valve and all the turbo system. Instead of hiding it, you're hearing it. So next time you're out on hot date, you can and then you can explain to your date what's happening. And
I mean, you can
you're
save this
sure
clip
to
if
get
you
lucky.
want. You can just save this clip,
after
play
you
it
do that.
after,
Yeah.
and you can really, you know.
You're going to get lucky for sure. At least they'll be right swiping and things like that going. MQB X34 Open Shield ETA. I don't know what the ETA is. It's in manufacturing and production. The design is finished.
Yep.
It's probably a couple months out, I would guess. If you're thinking about buying an MQB intake, I strongly recommend waiting for this one. This is sure to be one of the highest flowing intakes on the market. We use I can stick my entire arm through the inlet duct, and it's one of the highest flowing intakes on our flow bench that we've ever measured. It's like this intake will easily support 700-800 horsepower. It's not shrouded like many of the other options on the market, and it'll be extremely cheap.
Yep.
Like extremely price competitive, and it will be carbon fiber. So it's technically an X30. I mean, it's an X30. It's not an X34 technically. So we're going to come up with a different naming nomenclature to identify these type of intakes that we've been doing. But the X34 is typically a carbon airbox with the rest of the components in carbon as well.
Right.
And so in order to keep the cost down, we have the carbon shield, but it's a silicone inlet hose, which is functionally speaking, there's no reason functionally to do it in carbon other than how it would look. And we're trying to keep the price down because these cars are getting older now. And maybe you want to make 500 horsepower and you don't want to spend $700 on an intake. So it's coming soon. I would recommend waiting. It's going to be one of the best. I'll say it's going to be the best intake on the market for the money, no question. If running a 91 tune, will running 93 be discernibly smoother since ignition correction should go to 0, or would it be negligible?
It generally will be negligible in most situations. We do always, if you're like tracking the car with some crazy hot extreme environment,
if heat's an issue,
we'll recommend, no matter what, even on stock tune, like if you can run a higher octane, run.
I'll say in the past when I've run 91 files on 100, it's noticeable. Mm-hmm. On track, especially the power feels stronger initially, and it stays stronger.
Yeah, it's much
longer,
more consistent as everything gets heat soaked. Right. Everything really, is just working at 100%.
The detonation threshold for 91 fuel is just much lower, especially as temperature goes up. So, and certainly, you can't put E85 in in a gasoline file. Yeah. But if you have access to 93, I mean, 93 is not that much more. 100 is a lot higher octane. So we don't want to oversell it, but you will probably notice something. But if you're just kind of like cruising around on the street, you may not notice it. I'd say on track, it can be very noticeable.
Yep.
And a lot of times I'll just do like, if I have half a tank of 91, I'll top it off with 100. And the car just feels stronger and happier on track. But with that said, our 91 octane tune is optimized for 91 octane fuel. So that means there's not large corrections. The corrections are mostly there to make up for unexpected
deviations in fuel quality or inject, whatever.
Or if it's really hot, sure, you're going to get
corrections here and there.
Yeah. Or, the density of air is changing, so that's what those corrections aren't for normal operation. They're to account for all the various things that can happen. Yep. There are, however, many tunes on the market that run in in
they
correction
will
mode
lean
all
on
the
those
time.
knock sensors. I mean,
Yeah.
the knock sensors are not there as a tuning aid. They're there as a
They're a safety
it's
net.
a safety net.
Right.
Imagine so there shouldn't be you shouldn't have like a consistent amount of like all across all cylinders all the time.
Yeah.
You're getting a large amount of correction. Now on some files you'll see some correction a lot of the time, but it's usually a cylinder here and there, and it's coming and going, and that's just nature of the beast with like 91 and 93 files.
Yeah.
But there are calibrations out there that'll run like 7-8 degrees across all cylinders all the time, and then those will pick up power or become a lot smoother when you're when you put a higher octane in. But it's a very bad way to tune because it's only reactive. It's not proactive. So you have to wait for some knock activity or some detonation threshold to hit, and then pull timing. So it's tough on the motor.
Yeah, imagine going to the circus to see the world famous, Zamboni walk across the high wire, and they fall off it 18 times into the safety net as they walk across. That's what you're getting with these tunes that have corrections all the time. Our tuning is, they walk across the wire and they never use the safety net. But God forbid something happens, they lose their balance. It's kind of a freak thing. They don't fall to their death. That's what our safety measures and corrections are. But they're that wouldn't be very fun. You wouldn't want to pay to go see someone falling off into the safety net the whole time or into their safety harness. And so we look at it the same way with these tunes that we're selling is we don't want them into the safety systems unless there's a reason.
Right. We strive to have, and same thing with fuel corrections, and it's one of the big things that kills me on like all these tuning boxes. If you look at it, if you've ever looked at a log from those, it's like the fuel systems being like 30% fuel trims because the tuning box is lying to the ECU of how much air is getting in there. So it's like, and that's again completely reactive, and hopefully your fuel system's in closed loop when you're
the tuning boxes are the high wire guy takes one step, falls into the safety net, crawls across the whole way to the other side, gets up, and then bows.
Says he did it.
Yeah. So that's what tuning boxes are.
I did want to, before we get into more, several guys have been saying, cool, thanks for ignoring my question, or some other passive aggressive thing. Guys, we have literally hundreds of people on various platforms that are asking us questions. We're putting them in the queue. If you don't want yours answered, that's a really good way to do it.
You don't need to be passive aggressive.
Yeah,
I mean, you could just say, hey guys, did you see my question? I don't know. So Nate and I I'm not in the various chats.
I'm monitoring them, and it's coming across on each of them.
We have 3-4 people grabbing these questions and putting them in this form where we're answering them. So, and you can see we're rattling off as many of these as we can.
I mean, we're not. This isn't dead air here. We're just sitting here.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Here's a quick question. There's a question about how long will we support B5 tuning? Oh yeah. How long do you guys foresee supporting the B8.5 A4 platform? I'm just getting into building mine finally and would love to keep upgrading parts as I can afford. We will support any platform application as long as people are buying parts for it. B5 is still very strong for us. The products that you currently see selling on our site, I would say in general, are selling really well. And we will continue to support them. We will never discontinue a popular part that's selling, right? And we actually released a new product for the 2.7. It's our billet coil hold down kit. And I was actually at the Monterey Historics.
This is pretty cool. I saw that picture.
And I saw someone with that installed, and that made me feel really good because we kind of went out on a limb on that, and it's sold fine. It hasn't been like a huge success. I think we've probably sold like 50 of them in the last 6 months, which is nice. But so our 0007 density motor mounts is still one of our top 5 selling products. So those aren't going anywhere. But as long as you guys keep supporting us and supporting the parts, we will keep doing them.
Right. And this is where it gets really tough when you start just shopping bottom dollar stuff and looking for the
if you're just going to eBay and Amazon.
That just means we're going to, we're not going to be able to support those product lines anymore if you're just going around to all the copycats.
Yeah.
So
yes, support us and we'll support you. That's just how it works. But if the parts don't sell, then we got to move.
We can't just have stuff hold down the floor here.
No, that's not. This is unfortunately, it's a business, and if stuff doesn't sell, then we move on.
I got one last question that I want to make sure we leave some time for since we're up near the end. People want to meet Nate.
Meet Nate.
Yes.
man.
I mean, I figure
I think
people
we did
have
this,
met him,
yeah, but-
and you've talked quite a bit, but
Stay
yeah.
on topic.
Yeah. So we'll
Yeah, so why don't
wrap up
you talk for the next 5
the,
minutes?
the tuner and software guys. So yeah, I guess you could say I was trained or formally educated in computer science. Was what I went to school for, and I kind of really enjoyed some of my EE classes where you're in essentially designing embedded systems and kind of doing things that way. And then I left school, didn't really have any avenue to apply that. Ended up in, similar to Nick, I was in basically an IT role for a while outside of that, doing pharmaceutical data systems. And it got really boring because I ended up being okay at my job there and fixed them. And then there wasn't anything more to fix. So I kind of sat in my office. Then I started Motor Geek. It's a forum that got pretty popular early 2000s.
Well, you and I, so Nate was actually like
and then
one of the first customers for
I was like customer 2 or 3 for the original standalone.
And it was a huge blessing for me because Nate immediately started documenting all aspects of installing and tuning. And then Nate created this little website that I would actually refer. It was just me. I was just trying to, do tech support on my own. And so I started utilizing some of Nate's resources that he had created.
Did a bunch of, documentation, how-tos, guides.
So then we started talking, and he was like, hey, why don't I start a forum, which was a really kind of a new thing at that time that we can use to support, and I'll help you.
Yeah, because Javad and I met in the 90s on, the Quattro list as a mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's an email list.
We've been talking for a very long time. But yeah, so when the standalone, when 034 EFI came out, that's when I really kind of, got more formally introduced to Javad and years progressed. I was really bored and living in Maine.
I came out for Waterfest one year and we hung out.
My twin turbo
V8,
90,
3.6 V8.
V8 at 90 down with the standalone on it.
But then pretty soon, we were both on Motor Geek, Motor Geek blew up.
We were swatting questions left and right. There were all these crazy builds.
You started Motor Geek in what, like 03? 04 maybe?
I want to say it might have been even earlier than that, 2002. Probably 2002, 2003.
Yeah, because I started
it was right when you started going full time. Because I had the original supplemental controller.
You did. That's what everyone started with, and then I upgraded all those people with the fuel only unit, and then we added ignition to it.
Yeah, because I initially did it on a 10 valve turbo, and then we just were chatting more and more, and said, why don't we try?
Yeah, so in 05 you came out to visit.
I came out for the 1.8T. I ended up out here, the week before. I think it was the 1.8T challenge. We were getting Christian's car ready.
It was for Dub Wars.
Okay, or Dub Wars. I don't know what it was. I just know I came out here and then ended up with my head underneath the Jetta for a week.
I was like, hey, since you're here, why don't you get under this car and see if you can get it running?
Yeah, so I ended up,
And you did.
Fabricating
and then we went to Dub Wars, and I think the car put down like 480 wheel, which is like
ridiculous for
one of the highest horsepower 180s in the country.
It was like a 35R or something.
Yeah, we had a 30R. And so then we just started, and we had a booth and stuff, and so then we started talking really seriously about you moving out. And I had just started the business, and I wasn't even paying myself. And I think I offered you like $300 a week.
Winging a prayer at that point. So it was.
And you maxed out a bunch of credit cards, and you came out, and
loaded everything into a Penske truck and vehicle included. Actually, I got we actually had Alex's. Well, we had two red Audi 90s that we towed out. One in the truck, one behind it. So that was pretty awesome.
And for the first week Nate was there, I was like, "Hey, can you ship some packages?"
Oh yeah,
so he was
shipping, receiving. I'd done sales,
totally wasting his
customer support, whatever, like fixing printers left and right inside.
But then 2 weeks
getting
in,
internet connections working.
I think I was like, "Hey, we need this part," and you're like, "Oh, I can draw this up in eMachine."
Oh yeah.
And so you started drawing up some CAD parts. What was the first thing you did? Was it like the Delrin snub mount, or
it was?
There was like the 16 valve crank trigger kit.
Yeah, it wasn't that complex. It was something even stupider. Right?
There was some
fuel rail. I think it was a little fuel rail bracket or something we had.
Yeah, but we used to use this website. I think they're still around. Called
They are. Yeah, no, they're still a prototype. It's like a small run manufacturer, easy prototyping thing where they have their own kind of CAD interface. You draw stuff up on.
Yeah,
you can get it quoted out and bid out right away.
But that was incredible. And then I was like, oh, we've got someone on staff who can CAD stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I started doing all of
That was like trying to find anyone to do that.
Right. I was doing all of them. All of a sudden, I was doing all of the hardware design engineering. I also did mechanical engineering and drafting.
Yeah.
Actually, through my high school.
But you're just really good at just figuring,
I just pick stuff up and
figuring things out. And,
Yeah.
and, it's not.
I get hard headed.
In 07, I bought a CNC machine and I was like, here you go, Nate.
And then I learned how to run
It's all
CNC
yours.
machines here. Yeah.
And you learned like in 2 weeks you had programmed a Haas CNC and you were running parts on
Yep.
it. You know, it's just insane.
Yep. So it kind of kickstarted
Yeah.
our CNC department here.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't scale, so
No,
we ended up with other people running and growing that.
But we've done a good job of, I think I've done a job of pushing you.
Oh yeah,
to do more.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And
There's
then
not a lot of
you've-
comfort zone.
you've-
I'm always pushing into the next thing.
I'm like, no, you can do this. I
Right.
know you're a smart guy. And then you do it. You push yourself, and then, like you said, we hand it off to other staff,
Yep.
and so you've really helped. We've worked really well together to just build the business over the last 15 plus years.
Yep.
It's been incredible working relationship.
Yep. Yeah, I was doing
done lots
pretty
of
much all the hardware design for a while. Now, thankfully, we've got a team of great guys doing.
You
that.
don't do anything.
I don't
with
do anything hardware.
You're
I don't do any
completely out
hardware
of that.
design.
Yeah.
Now I'm all software.
And you've handed off like at least half of your software duties as well.
Yeah. No. Now I get to focus back. I'm full circle now back into the embedded stuff. So I'm doing a lot more reverse engineering and digging into that stuff. So
Yeah. And then the next step is to redesign our clothing line.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. As to be more hypey.
I bought some new scissors.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think we're out of time.
Yeah, I think we can wrap that up.
we could talk for days about Nate.
Yeah. I mean, I've been here since 2005. So
in fives, started. So, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And this was fun to get to introduce some of the staff. We should maybe do this with other
maybe we'll do
departments.
some different
as well.
departments.
We
Yeah.
can do hardware engineering, sales and customer service. Frank, I mean, honestly, there's like really great, amazing,
we have
interesting
such
people.
a good team, or just all over the building.
Marketing's not very exciting, but all the other departments
The
are
other guys are
super
great.
exciting. So, no, that's what makes 034 Motorsport great is all the staff
Yeah,
here.
and everyone here is super passionate about the same thing all of you guys are. So
we
all live and breathe it.
We make sure of it. We don't want just. We need that passion, that interest, that drive
Yep.
to be the best. So that's what we do. All right. Well, thanks again, and
guys.
see you next week.